So I'm going to introduce our first poet, and I actually encountered Valerie at another reading with another poet, and I said, Valerie Loveland, that's a great name for a poet. And I thought, I'm going to look up her work, and I did, and I was so amazed at finding what you've done. So I'm going to read your bio here. Valerie Loveland is the author of The Mailbox is a Miniature Version of the House and Unsolved Mysteries theme song. She likes silent movies, audio poetry, and collage. She works as an optician and lives in New Jersey near Philadelphia. And I will be putting links in the chat where you can look for Valerie's two books. Valerie, thank you so much for being here. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much. This is great. Love it. Okay. Oh, let me start my timer. All right. I buried myself up to my waist and pretended a magician sawed me in half. He didn't, but they made him bring me back to the bottom half of my body. Since I was faking, I wasn't sure where he got the legs. It was so awkward, and I didn't want to admit I lied, so I sawed myself in half, kept my legs buried in the ground, and put on the other legs. Later, I went to where I buried them, and there was only an empty hole. Is it possible for legs to kick their way out of the ground? I followed my own footprints, but they jumped into a stream and disappeared. It was wearing my favorite skirt. I let my new legs walk us where they wanted. We walked for so long. We stopped at and won a legs beauty pageant on the way. Eventually, we got to a robin's egg blue, mid-century modern architecture house. The mailbox was a miniature version of the house. When she opened the door, we looked at each other's legs, our shoes on the other person. It was easy to switch our legs back. But first, we let the legs cartwheel and wrestle around like puppies. The next one is called Good Morning, Everyone. The ghosts were especially caring and kind with me last night. They put cold compresses on my forehead, patted me on the head, saying, "There, there," before they put me to bed. They told me I should at least try some wine once in my life. They know what it means to be me. I have always loved old women, and this house full of lady ghosts might be my reward for being a nice person, and the culmination of a life well lived will be dying here and being taken care of and doted on for eternity. I tell them everything like we are a sleepover full of teenage girls. I ask them for medical advice. They don't tell me anything about themselves. It isn't their fault when they foam at the mouth and it looks like they're vomiting ectoplasm. They dress up in the most hideous monster costumes. I can see zippers. I try to stop them, but they won't until dawn when we all hear the Carolina Wrens sing Tea Kettle, Tea Kettle, Tea Kettle. They call this the night of telling the truth. It's scary. The next day, they don't remember, but they are sorry for any trouble they caused. They don't want to know the details. I am working on learning to dissociate because I also don't want to know the details. I imagine I am the house, or the house that turned into a ship and promised to sail us away from haunted trouble, someplace serene. When things are better, I will turn back into myself again, and the house is the house again, and it will take care of all of us. There are rules here, but you can sometimes only learn them after you break them. The ghosts say I am as delightful as a pink nose on a cat. I tell them they are as delightful as a bird singing tea kettle, tea kettle. We always close the curtains, but they are sheer, so everyone can still see inside, like those transparent fish who show everyone what they have eaten. When I was a kid, I was a mini disaster, a mini pork chop, a mini microwave oven, a mini black and white TV. I was one of those mini refrigerators that people keep in dorm rooms. My brain was regular size tornado. My room looked exactly like my brain. I was a Cape May diamond like the one I dug out of my neighbor's yard. I found out they're quartz that the ocean tumbled. I was rejected from the Children's Ballet Theater production of The Nutcracker because I was too fat. I was Miss Piggy bending the bars of her prison cell while wearing elbow-length purple satin gloves. All summer, I watched reruns of 60s sitcoms and laugh in to look at the clothes. I was a body that had a brain floating not quite inside it. I was how a fluffy dog feels after a haircut. What happens to a flower after it is disconnected from its stem. I was a kid who could tell the future. I was not a kid who could prepare for the future. I was a 1959 encyclopedia. I was a memory of a fishing hook stuck in my thumb, but not the memory of how it got out of my thumb. I was a porcelain figurine that fell over and broke and glued, and you can tell. I was a dress with cartoon teddy bears that repeated like polka dots, and one spilled cartoon jar of honey at my shoulder. I was a nightmare about stranger danger. I was a mayonnaise sandwich, and I was ketchup on everything. I was a Little Debbie snack cake, whichever was your favorite. The hold music for CVS Pharmacy sounds like mental illness. And it somehow gets more mentally ill the longer I wait for them to answer. The song repeats every 30 seconds, just like my thoughts. I tried to like the generic version of my medicine, but it was just like that guy I knew I was going to break up with. We didn't meet our deductible yet this year because my husband stopped going to therapy. This sounds like a punchline, but isn't. It is Halloween, and all the ghosts and monsters are already put away, except for me. I try to act like I am not desperate to get my medicine because it is a controlled substance. I stop myself from saying at the beginning of every phone call, I have never tried drugs or drinking. I want to tell everyone in line at CVS. I sleep on my back like a vampire, but I haven't been sleeping lately. I try not to say when I give the cashier my HSA card, I used to be a poet, and I'm going to try to be one again. I promise the pharmacy tech at CVS I will start running again. I promise my doctor I will stop spending so much money. I promise my insurance company I will call my mom more. I promise my husband I will have a good one. This one is Jose Chung's From Outer Space. Um, and we started watching The X-Files again, which is really fun. Our neighbor upstairs had a party, and someone yelled, "Yes, this is my jam," as Avril Lavigne's Skater Boy came on. He started watching X-Files, and we know exactly how many episodes because we hear the theme song every time he plays one. He walked into our apartment thinking that he was walking into his apartment. All of us were shocked. He exclaimed, "This is not my apartment," and left. It wasn't until after he was gone that we realized it was that neighbor. Our upstairs neighbor is the guy that is right on top of us. He yelled, "Have you seen my asshole?" He played Monster Mash twice during his Halloween party. He got sick of X-Files and started watching The Office. I don't like that series, but the theme song is perfect. I want to tell him he gave up on the X-Files too early. He stopped before he got to see my favorite episode, Jose Chung's From Outer Space. Alex Trebek is in it. I want to ask, why are you either alone or having a big party? Why don't you ever just have one person over? I want to ask, do you want to hear the poem I wrote about you? This one is called I am beautiful when I am reversed. My mirror is in love with me. My friend said I am like the dating sim where every object in the house becomes a human manifestation of the object, and you can date them. There is an abnormally long, abnormally angry storm outside because I used to be in love with a lightning bolt. Now my cats are hiding under the bed together. There are consequences to who you don't love. I was always drawing the tower from my tarot deck. The lightning bolt said it was his calling card. It was embarrassing. I'm used to love being embarrassing. My friends made fun of him by calling him my zigzag fiance. I didn't like his friends and constantly had to change out of my rain-wet clothes. What else could I expect from a flash in the sky? I saw a horror movie like this about mirrors and lightning bolts. The main character is not as good an actor as I am, but she is gorgeous when the mirror shows her something horrific and she screams and screams. I always know how movies will end because I have excellent pattern recognition. The actor asked me for characterization tips, but I told her I was sure she could figure it out. Besides, the movie isn't about me exactly. It is about the idea of me, or the memory of me, or when I appeared in someone's dream. Her horror movie life ends better than my own horror movie life. I didn't tell her my dream of being left-handed is finally coming true. I've been looking in the mirror as much as possible because I know when I break up with him, I will never see myself again. This one is a year's worth of greeting cards. I was trying to write a Valentine and kept writing it wrong. You are the key to my ghost. You are the key to my worm. You are my road where I can see all the way to the horizon. Why is the road center line solid instead of dashed when it is not a busy road? I decide which photos of me are the worst and post them. Otherwise, my hookups would accuse me of only posting my most flattering pics. Some online dating citizens I never met in person have said I look like an ecological science experiment. To be fair, there are ugly ecological science experiments and exceptionally beautiful ecological science experiments. Who knows what anyone looks like? I can't make proper eye contact. One day, we little mice will all find our own little mice who will make us feel like royalty. One day, we will find the cuttlefish of our hearts. We will recognize them when they color morph to resemble a forest we once saw in a dream. It is a relief when a dove-like figure coos in my ear. I think things may actually turn out okay. The closed-circuit video wall makes me feel less convinced. My potential paramour said it's unethical to send him a pic of my hands when everyone gets to see my hands naked. He said, when he said that, I fell apart into 100 baby ribbon snakes and slithered away in every direction. New Jersey is full of ghosts. Just kidding, they are actually my ex-boyfriends who are avoiding me. One ghost never replied to my email about the Star Trek episode with Mark Twain in it. One ghost just had a baby ghost and is really busy. When I posted a Reductress article, man who sexually assaulted you likes your Facebook post about assault. One of the ghosts asked if I thought he ever sexually assaulted or harassed me or anyone. I said, yes, LOL. I found the best loophole. I can write about any dude if I call him a ghost. Some ghosts hide by moving away. I appreciate this because up until recently, I was also using this method. I always said there was nothing to see or do here, but I was always doing so much. I'm not trying to meet up. I just want to say, have you watched the Punk Rock Girl video since you moved away? Do you still have that Monkeys/Jerky Boys mixtape you made? Your baby ghost has an adorable square head, just like yours. I wanted to say sorry about how I broke up with you, but I want to say, remember when we went to see the Atco Ghost? We drove on Burnt Mill Road at 1 a.m., followed all the directions, beeped the horn 3 times, and didn't see the ghost? I want to say, I am sure we would see him now. Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It. My husband has been watching short videos online filtered by Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It playing as the background. This is how we eat pizzas with forks, how we shop for a family of 10, how we make dinner with so many peppers and eat them as if they are not spicy at all. There are two things going on at once. Everyone I know is sick and are losing their jobs and can't afford anything. I am trying to avoid as much bad news as possible. My mom is in the ER. One friend died, and one friend had a pulmonary embolism, and one friend has a serious medical situation, and I don't know what that means. Everyone is in the hospital, and everyone is saying specifically they are still alive because we are so worried and grateful. I play a comforting video game that makes it so I don't think very much. Doctors don't know why his heart is only pumping at 10%. Everyone keeps telling me about the trail derailment and how an autistic person asked if all the trains were okay. All the trains I know are in the hospital. I ask everyone who is left, have you been checked out recently? This is how we do it. Clean a house. Vacuum a car. A doctor cleans and gowns in before performing hip surgery and looks like he's wearing a spacesuit. There are new exciting foods at Costco. Someone bowls a strike. Someone hits a hole-in-one. Someone is good at roller skating in a rink. It is not Friday night. An old woman can put her leg behind her head. I tell my husband that being flexible is not considered good anymore and probably means that woman has a connective tissue disorder. All these things I would want to be how I do it. But how I do it is waking up too early because I have night sweats, avoiding social situations in person. I pick tarot cards, hoping they will tell me writing poems would get easier. I've been chewing a lot of gum and just swallow it. Then Google what bad things happen when someone swallows gum. Mitral regurgitation. My heart is corny and sloppy, just like me. So it can't coordinate its valves and just tosses blood around to the wrong chambers. I ask my doctor if anyone calls it heart barf. And could it just start a whirlpool of stale blood that is permanently trapped in the wrong chamber? He said no, and no, and no. I am going to write heart barf 100 times a night until I can think of the right threat to make my heart lock down its valves, or at least until I can see the future. A poet with a repeating, recycling heart is so symbolic and so iambic. I think I can feel it throwing up sometimes. All the seals on my organs are dry rotting or slipping or laughing in unison. The organs themselves had little smiling faces that are no longer smiling. Imagine how creatures without brains would act. My doctor said they are programmed to do a job, but sometimes they have their own ideas. He said everyone dislikes their job sometimes. So I could announce this on my blog, I looked for a GIF of a leaky heart, but could only find a leaky house, a sinking ship, or a bleeding heart. I posted them all. All right, let me get another thing. There it is. Okay. All right, this one's called I Warned You. I warned you about the person I saw in the woods. I warned you about the person I became in the woods. I looked like I was in a clearing, but that was not the sun on my face. I was just flushed, vivid, luminous, vibrant, gleaming, florid, phosphorescent, lustrous. My famous last words did not end up famous, nor were they my last words. I came back from the dead and couldn't stop talking. I woke up from dying and couldn't stop laughing. I was somehow even worse than when I was alive because my mouth didn't have to move to talk anymore. He was mixed feelings. He was mixed predictions. He was a mixed bag, a mixed up bag, a bag of feelings. He was a sentence that ran backwards. He was the worst thing that ever happened to me. He was a ripped up confession that got ripped into even smaller pieces. He was a coin that drowned whoever put them in their purse. He was mourning jewelry. All right, I think I have enough for one more. Another one about my heart. This one is called The Electricity in My Body Crackles Like a Nightmare. My heart put up a big screen in my chest, and it is projecting every horror movie at once. There's a lot of screaming and blood, but I don't mind that as much as the constant dread. It is a long string that is being pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled. And sometimes it snaps, and sometimes it suddenly goes slack. Now he is calling me a coward for being tense during scenes written specifically to make me tense. My heart offers to make it up to me by playing every comedy instead. It is somehow worse. All the laughing overlaps like a pot on the stove constantly boiling over. My heart won't stop playing You Are My Sunshine over and over. I can't tell if this is better or worse than his phase when he always played Close to You by the Carpenters. My heart seems sorry, but it is always flickering in the middle of the night. Every time he asks for my car keys, I give him one of the keys to the city of my body. It is actually just a skeleton key. I bid on an auction for a set of 10 keys. I bought them to lock and unlock all the old doors in our apartment. None worked because every spring mechanism inside every lock was broken. Now it is just a bag full of keys. He keeps asking for another key, but I can't give them all away. I have my own locks I need to try to open with keys that won't work. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much. Your poems are so fun and unique and quirky, and yet you have a lot of important, serious things to say underneath it all. So we really appreciate your being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.